Hi, I'm Moira, and welcome to a new series with Law Transformed. And today I want to talk about how to rewrite your law firm life. And so we're going to start with the resolution. This is a process I came up with back in 2019, and I was still practicing as an IP attorney, and I was traveling through Southeast Asia, and I was on a small island off the coast of Thailand and working in this co-working space, and in this very sort of moment of, what am I doing with my life? Am I building more? And I came across this channel, and she's E.A. Deverell, or Eve Deverell, and I'll link it below. And what she was doing was she had an exercise or a video that talked about how to plot an entire book on one page, and you folded it up, and in the end you had your book section by section, just the plot, just the outline. And I love this. And at the time I was working with a few people on how to reimagine their law firm, how to deal with issues that they were having. And so I started to take this idea of a story and talk with my attorneys about it, with my clients about it. While I was still practicing the legal side of things, I knew that that would not be enough long term, and I had loved the idea of writing a book. But there was something about the idea of looking at what you're going through now as a story that was really transformative, not only for me, but also for my coaching clients. And so we did things like, imagine you have an hiring issue at your firm and you could see it and you talk about it, but usually when you're talking about it, you're so in the story that you don't really have perspective. You aren't able to make change because you're sort of stuck in what is reality and what you're doing. And so what we started to do was we started to abstract it. And so no longer were they telling their own story, but they were telling a story of, there's Moira and she's having this issue at her firm, and this is where she is now, and this is what she wants, and these are all the challenges she reaches on the way. And so we were writing it like it was a quest. And in a way, it helped people see their own challenges like they're just something that you go through in the story so that you can achieve that outcome in the end. And no longer was it about how I'm stuck now and I can't change it and things aren't going well. It was, oh, these are the tools I can use. Oh, this is the superpower that I have that is going to help me overcome. And if I don't, this is what's going to be the problem. This is what's going to be holding me back. And if I don't make these changes and I don't use these tools and I don't take advantage of this opportunity, this is what lies in wait for me. It's more of the same, or it gets even worse. And when they were able to see it as a story, something outside of themselves, they were able to depersonalize in a way that was truly powerful and helpful, I believe. I know it worked for me. So I wanted to try and experiment with having this possibility with you all and see how you like it. So we're going to start with the resolution, the end of the story. And I think it's good to start here because just like in business, you start with your vision, you start with the end in mind. Where do you want to end up? Because when you don't have real clarity about the end, it's really hard to make the decisions and build along the way. You're just sort of building into the dark. And so the more clarity you can bring to the resolution to your story, to the outcome that you actually want, the more ability you have to make fast decisions, to be able to move forward, to truly move in a way that is going to help you achieve the goals that you're aiming for. And so we're starting at the end, and we want to look at describing this as much as possible. And I really encourage you to write this down, because when it's up in our head, we don't have real clarity, and we also can't look at it with perspective. I encourage you to write it by hand. I encourage you maybe to take some time, and if you need to, dictate to yourself, use speech to text. We all have it on our smartphones. And this will allow you in a couple of drafts to really be able to articulate your vision. And I want you to describe your vision, the resolution, the end of your story in a way that if you were watching a video, you would see it every scene, like absolutely, you would understand exactly what's happening. So it's not like, oh, and everything is wonderful and na. It is, I'm sitting there with a smile on my face and I'm looking out over my team, and we are, discussing the issue that we need to solve by next week, and the clients and whatever that is, but I want you to practice articulating your vision in a clear and concrete way as possible. And so some of this comes to us easily, and some people have more difficulty focusing on the dream, on the vision, what could be. And so a lot of people are very focused on the present, like, I don't know where I want to go, but I know I don't want this. I don't want now. I want something else. And that's okay. Some people are more focused on what's happened in the past. Oh, every time I've tried to change this, this is what's happened. And I understand this, and I encourage you to be okay with that. Write that down, and then move back to the vision. Really try to, as much as possible, look at what you want in the future. And we'll talk about this in the next video, which is, the next video will be starting with where you are now. But if you really can't get to what you want, and you can only see where you are or where you have been, literally write that down, and then choose the adjective that is the opposite, or choose the verb that is the opposite. So if I'm stuck, that means I'm moving. If I am feeling frustrated and angry with my associates and how they're working, then in the end, I'm feeling so happy and content, and I am excited that not only do my associates have ownership over their work, but what we're doing together is so much more than what I could do individually. And so the next piece I want to talk about a little bit is, as lawyers, our training is to identify the issues. We naturally see the gap between where we are and where we want to be. And our focus remains there, because what we do is we solve those problems. And as much as possible, I want you to leap the gap to see where you're going, to see what you want to have come in the end. So in this story, I want you to take time and put as much sensory detail as you can, all 5 senses as possible. What does it smell like? What do you hear? And, imagine a Tuesday in your future, and what does that look like? I think it was Tim Ferriss that talked about, you have succeeded in your business when your Tuesday is the most amazing day. And it's like this ordinary moment in your future law firm life is exactly the way you want it to be. Maybe you want to do a little bit of what the book Designing Your Life calls AEIOU, which means you think about what activities are you doing. Are they structured or are they unstructured? What role are you playing? That sort of thing. The E is for the environment. What environment are you working in? Is it formal or informal? Like, how does it make you feel? What does it look like? What does it smell? Then the I is for interactions. And so who or what are you interacting with on this day? Are you primarily on your computer on Zoom? Are you making a phone call from a car? Are you Are you in person with your clients, really connecting? Like what is that interaction? And how you feel about it. Then talking about what are the objects or supporting things that you are interacting with that really make this day go well. Like, do you have the latest iPad and the pencil, and all you need to do is make a couple notes and that becomes your case note and it goes automatically into the process, whatever floats your boat, right? Then there is users, and this is the you. And so who else is around you? Who else has some sort of interaction with your day, with your work? You know, how are you interacting with each other? How do these people make the experience more positive or more negative? And you know, looking at all these sort of aspects and creating the richest, most expressive, most descriptive vision for what you want, I think gives you real clarity towards what you're building for, because later on we can identify values out of that. We can create a decision matrix where you know that this is the vision, and things that don't lead to this, there are no. And it makes things really simple, and it helps you move forward in a way with real clarity that you may not have had before. And incidentally, I'll talk about this in a later video as well, but you can use this for mapping your client journey. Like, how do clients work with your law firm? You can do this for how you work with associates, how you intend to leave or retire from your firm, and what you want that to be. So it's an exercise that you can use in many different circumstances. Once you have this tool, you can come back to it again and again and to use it with any problem. I personally used it when I was considering moving, and so I told myself the story, and I looked at identifying all the potential barriers and what I could do move forward. Okay, so you can pause the video here and do this exercise, or you can do it afterwards and come back. But one of the things that you may be struggling with when you write is writing a vision that has real clarity, and I call it the ping, but intuitively, you know, this is what you want. And so I personally find myself writing what is probable, what is maybe possible. Like, you know, I'm very reality based, and I like to see how I'm going to get there. And I can't even, I in the past have had difficulty even saying what I want, like truly want, because my mind can't figure out how I'm going to achieve that. And it is one of the things that I know for truth, that I know from my own experience, is that the person I am now is not going to be the person I am then. And in fact, that's what makes the best stories, is that it's not that the people end up in a different place in the end. It is they have become different people in order to have that end, in order to achieve what they have achieved and have those dreams. And so I understand now that the brain I have right now, the mindset I have right now, the infrastructure and the understandings I have right now are not the same as what I will have in that place. And so I, in this moment in particular, am letting go of how I'm going to get there. I just want to know the what. I just want to have the dream. I don't want to think about how possible, how probable, how, you know, how incremental or strategic moves that I'll need to take to get there, because I don't know that yet. And that's okay, because for this part of the process, I just want clarity on what is the end, what is the outcome that I'm looking for. The other piece is that you, I don't know, for whatever reason, like maybe familial stuff, that you shouldn't be so so grasping, want to achieve so much, make so much money. We have lots of weird family stories around things like this, around success, around what that's going to mean and how that's going to change the structures and the people and the things around you. And in this time and in this place, I give you absolute permission to want what you want. And seriously, want whatever you want, because this is for no one but you unless you choose to share it. This is your guiding star. You don't have to tell anyone. And this is a place for you to stop chasing other people's dreams, your parents' dreams, your partner's dreams, the dreams you had when you first started law school that you're like, oh, I had no idea. And this is what I want now. Or I just recently met someone who has this kind of firm and that's what I want. And so this is where I want you to stay with what is most resonant for you. No embarrassment, no shame. No one's going to read it. Just you. You get to have this and you get to have your dream. And so this is the resolution. This is the part we're going to write first. And then check back in next week's video. The next video in this process, which will be linked here once it's live, is how to look at from where you are and where you're starting. And then we'll talk about the quest, how you're going to get there. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Moira with Law Transformed. I am a former IP attorney turned legal practice coach, and I love this. And so if you want to go deeper, or if you have questions about this particular process, feel free to click the link below, schedule an appointment. It's absolutely free. I'd love to talk about it. All right. Thank you and happy lawyering.